All right, we're going to get started. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Tax increment reinvestment zone number one. We are at City Hall. It is 3:40. This is a regular Board of Directors meeting. Thank you, everybody, for making time to be here. Board members, members of the city staff, and our consultants and guests. Thank you very much. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Ms. Martinez, Ms. Ayala, would you help us with roll call?
I can read it.
Okay.
Mr. Justin Heather.
Here.
Mr. Joseph Knapp has asked to be excused. He's out of town on business. Francisco Mata.
Present.
Vanessa Guerra has asked to be excused also. Mr. Jose Ceballos.
Here.
Mr. Wilfredo Martinez.
Here.
And Mr. Juan Caballero has also asked to be excused.
I make a motion to excuse the three people that requested.
Second. Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any against? None. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move on to the items on the agenda now. Item 4, citizens' comments. Citizens are required to fill out a witness card no later than 3:45, and those can be found here on location. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. No more than 3 minutes. Sorry, no more than 3 persons will be allowed to speak on any side of an issue. Speakers may not pass their minutes to any other speaker. Comments should be relevant to city business and delivered in a professional manner. No derogatory remarks will be permitted. I don't have anyone signed up. Is there anybody here to make public comment? Not hearing any, we're going to move on to item 5, minutes, approval of minutes for October 15, 2024.
Motion to approve.
Mr. Mata moves to approve. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Second by Mr. Martinez. Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any against? None. Motion passes. Thank you. Presentation items. These are our standing status updates. There's a list of those on your agenda. We'll start in the order that they're presented. Zaragoza Street Public Improvements. I'll ask our consulting team to update the board on the items, or on that particular item.
Good afternoon, everybody. Edward Ochoa with KCI for the record. So just a quick update, the contractor's still working through the project. As we sit today, probably, I would say maybe the major items on the north side of Zaragoza have been completed. When I say the major items, you know, there's still some cleanup, handrails still to be installed, but concrete's been poured, and most of the intersection has also been completed. They're currently working on the second half of the intersection, which would be kind of the southern side, so that's still under construction. But all that's been put together, and is you know, tidying up pretty good. They're currently working right now as we speak on the south side of Zaragoza, kind of the southwest corner of Convent in Zaragoza. They're working on that corner and getting that corner completed out. So I hadn't gotten a time frame from them the last I spoke. We went out there on Friday and met with them, but they're coming up on time. So as we sit today, we're probably about 2 weeks, I believe, from the end of the contract schedule. So we're trying to get kind of those last little things wrapped up. Might have a couple little pending things. They're ordering a couple of items that might take a little bit longer. But like I said, just minor items, you know, that they're kind of tidying up. But so far so good. I'm not sure if anybody's had a chance to go and look at it here recently, but everything's kind of laying out pretty good. We're just working through little minor issues as all construction projects go through. But
Percentage completion, Edward?
I would guesstimate, I would probably say they're 80%, 90%, pretty much. They're pretty much complete. Again, missing pretty much the southwest corner of Convent and Zaragoza, and a little bit of the intersection at Convent and Zaragoza.
Are all the storefronts accessible?
All of the storefronts are accessible, yeah.
That no one's being kept from opening their store or their business?
Not that I'm aware of. Throughout the construction progress, This contractor has done very well in coordinating with the storefront owners, and the storefront owners have also been very cooperative, I would like to say. I haven't heard any issues on that manner. Now, understanding that, they build something, pour some sidewalk, lay the bricks down, and like the next day, people are walking all over the place. So, it's different from another project where, we kind of cordon it off and save it until it's substantially complete, and then we turn over a brand new looking product. That's not gonna necessarily happen in some parts of this project, right? People are using it already. I got a good picture of some people already sitting on the little retaining wall bench, kind of how we had set it up for a seating area type, use. So, yeah, it's all been used.
Your counterpart smiling like,
Do you have a tentative date for a final walkthrough on that?
So the date on the contract is November 27th, if I recall correctly. So like I said, we're about 2 weeks out. They're trying to get to that point. They haven't asked for any extra days yet, but we're going to stay on top of it this week and see if they would need any extra days for a substantial complete. But like I said, everything's looking good. A lot of it's being used and occupied already. 88 corner ramps are being used by people, so. Yeah, we're trying to get to that
Can we
November
schedule
27th.
a power wash on that
Yes,
day?
sir. Yeah, we've talked about that already. Kind of power washing as best they can. You'll see that the bricks at the intersection of Convent and Zaragoza, obviously we've done different portions of that in phases so that we can allow for the traffic to go through. You'll see that just a lot of the turning movements and the tires have already kind of darkened the bricks. We kind of mentioned to see what we can do to clean that up the best that they can before turning it over. But yeah, we thorough power wash. We've got some other items that have been discussed, some joints on the sidewalks to be cleaned up, and we've been putting our punch list items kind of together yet. But we haven't formally gotten what we call the pre-final inspection. We anticipate that before the 27th.
so I asked them, I copied you on an email to Edward and Ramon on the staining.
Yeah.
Just to see what, I don't know, and frankly, I have some concerns over that actually being a long-term fix or solution for the disparity in color. I think eventually it'll just mix. But I want to see what the cost would look like if we actually entertain that. So hopefully the contractor can give us back a price for that.
You were saying the bricks on block 2.
Block 2.
Yeah, a big portion of block 2.
Yeah. Well, there's a comment he made last time. So, if it's cost too much to do something like that,
Right.
and for the value we're going to get back, we might not do it. But I think
Kind of the intent was to have the best uniformity, because I know it kind of looks like a patchwork right now. You do have difference in bricks.
Yeah. So some of that, we've researched a little bit about that. There was a question that was, some saw cutting that was done. We went back to some photos that we had before the project was started, and I believe that particular one you all were referencing about saw cutting wasn't done by this contractor. It was there already.
No, well, it wasn't the saw. What
It
the
was
saw cutting was
bricks, I think.
the whole point of the saw cutting was because some of the bricks were thicker than the other ones, and we said if we could cut them so that you can level them out. The answer was no. But then also the bricks look very different in color, and
Yeah.
it kind of looks like a patchwork. And so, what could we do to kind of have them blend in, have a better blend in as opposed to it sticking out?
I'll pick the contractor's brain a little bit about that. That block 2, from what we were told by the contractor and kind of looking at it, those bricks have been there for, I say block 2, which is the one in front of the bridge number 1 pedestrian exit.
Yeah.
That particular block has been bricks for a long, long time, and it just seems like the city has probably just pulled bricks in over time to fix issues, utility installations, whatever. And they told us this is just like a hodgepodge of bricks. It's really not different colors, different sizes, mostly similar colors, but not the same. So I'll reach out to them and ask them for that.
also some of the brick is like baked and not very permeable, so it doesn't take a stain. So it's like, I just wanted to throw that out there to see what it comes back with.
Okay.
Hopefully it doesn't take too much time to look at it for pricing.
Yep. Well, I'll get on top of that with them too to make sure we get that. They have provided us, we requested pricing and some of the change order things that had already been discussed with them. They've given us some pricing on that. We got that just Friday, I think, of last week. So, we're currently looking at that against some of the other things that we need to finish off the project, and we should have something by the next meeting or maybe before in an email to the staff and the board.
All right. Any other questions, comments for Edward?
Are they bidding for phase two? Are they
Uh,
same people, or they?
They showed an interest in bidding phase two when we first started the project. I haven't brought the question up again. But they certainly are interested in from what they had expressed to us. They were interested in bidding whatever the next phases that we put out. Phase two, or maybe the San Agustin, and it will be the phase one, right? Whichever you all would like to do next.
Right.
But they do have an interest, and my personal opinion is, they've got some good experience working in downtown and understanding, different things under the surface. I'm gonna go and meet with them right now as soon as we're done, because they came across a line that was like 2 inches from the top of the concrete, and, little things like that. They've got some good experience in that, whenever they.
We haven't had anybody lose power or internet or anything, because these guys are digging, so that's good news.
Thank the dear Lord, not yet. Speaking on utilities, I will give you just a quick update on that. On Friday, I met with AEP and Spectrum on the site, and we went through basically pole by pole where AEP was gonna place their electrical pole. And we coordinated with them, marking different locations of where I had suggested I wanted the pole, and we worked all of those kind of finite details out with AEP. So we still have pending, Tina, I think, the AEP contract to be signed. I think we were gonna.
She has an update about that, right, T?
Yes, so, it is gonna have to go for council approval, so that city manager can sign off on it, since it is a significant amount of money on, city property.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
So-
yeah, it's on the
And
November, sorry,
November
so it's on the
8th,
November 18 meeting, which is Monday's meeting. So we
And
should,
November 8th,
after
right?
the Monday's meeting, we should be able to execute that contract, within the
They have an
holidays.
agreement with the city,
Oh,
right?
It
There's
it
an
ended up having to be an agreement with the city, that's how AP requested it, so once it becomes an
oh,
agreement
they
with
want
the
the
city.
city to sign.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so again, my update on that is AEP said, you let us know.
And the number that came back is accurate?
Yes, 137, I think it was.
Yeah, I have it here.
It came back lower than that.
It came
Well,
out,
they sent the breakdown with a lower number,
Yes,
and I said,
correct.
hey, these two numbers don't match. The breakdown of the lower number was the first number we had gotten before they finished their design, and then, so, unfortunately, it came back.
I had to tell you, right? Well, you guys were gonna pick it up
Well,
eventually.
we picked up on it. We did pick up on it and said, hey, these aren't
Yeah.
matching.
All right.
And,
do you want me to read the actual amount? I have it here.
We voted on it, it's 134, 137, right?
37.
137 something. So, they're ready to go. Spectrum went through and looked at it too. They said they didn't see any major issues moving their line. They were gonna let us know if there was gonna be additional costs, but it didn't sound like there would be. But I did tell them if there's any costs, I need to know ASAP. So,
All right, and you'll bring the changes, the reporting for the changes and stuff next month, right?
we would bring them next month. We might have to bring them before next month. I'm trying to get those finalized with them here maybe this week. So that might go through an email communication to the board and to, of course, engineering department.
And
As we
also,
work that out.
Mr. Chairman, some pictures, so we can see the progress. and-
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah, we had some
should be
pictures.
finished by then, no?
Yeah, I mean, I can share some pictures via email. I think we shared some at the last meeting maybe. But yeah, they've made some progress for the last month, so.
Yeah,
And that's about all the updates I have.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to the wayfinding signage item B, 6B. I think go ahead, Rick.
No, Rick Solis with Able City. I guess on some of these next items, as far as the wayfinding signage, I believe last meeting we had, the contract was gonna be sent to Andrew with FSG. I don't know if that,
I think we're just pending the addition of the standard contract form.
correct. I will follow up with the engineering department. I believe they were just gonna attach their template of the contract, and then, purchasing and legal would review everything one final time and then proceed.
Right, okay. Sounds good. So that should be hopefully ready to initiate production this month. To be installed probably next year, January sometime.
Yeah. As far as the next item, the TASA program for Salinas improvements, I did communicate with Mr. Mendive. He explained to me that I guess TechStop was asking the project sponsor to resubmit the project information form,
Right.
and that's what's being worked on right now. That was the only update he provided. I don't know if anyone else has.
Yeah, so I did talk to Ramon, city engineer, and he is working on updating the oversight form. And Mr. Mendiva is working on the project information form. He said he would get that in. So once we do that, we'll see the advanced funding agreement come back to us in, hopefully in final form. And then we come here and then we go to city council for action. So, I mean, it's looking like, for the board, it's looking like this rolls us into next year in terms of finalizing the advanced funding agreement. So it was gonna be in November, which was the target 60 days, so I don't think we're off necessarily too bad on that target. We just need to send back the oversight form.
Right. For the It Street Monument sign, actually, there's an item on the agenda to sort of go over a few items. I don't know if we want to wait.
Yeah, sure, we'll do it with the action item.
Yes. I think it's the same for the murals program. I believe we have a couple items on the agenda for that. And the project plan and financing plan, I think the conversation was to discuss the bylaws. I think that's all.
Yes, so I'll update the board, Rick, on the project and financing plan. I copied a few of you on what I consider the wrap-up of the update that's gonna go before council. So we have this report that's a number of pages, you all have seen it and read it. And I'm citing back, the simplest way I thought we could do this is to, at least at this point, is to cite back to the 2017 official plan. So there's a form, and Mr. Morales is not here today, but him and I and Viviana Frank were working on establishing how we would do that. And after my homework this weekend, I think the simplest way for us to do this for the future, so that makes sense in the future, is to just go back to the 2017 plan and overlay with different colors and a date, kind of like your redlining, you attorneys do your redlining, and leave that in the 2017 plan, because the 2024 update is extremely wordy. It covers everything we want to cover, but it's very difficult to follow the actual amendments to the 2017 plan. So I haven't talked to Mr. Morales yet to see his thoughts, but if he agrees, we can go with the amendment, the summary amendment. We've already approved the amendment document, so this is just a summary to make it easy for people to follow. I mean, I put pages on there, essentially, that make it easy for you to know what's being updated. Nothing really substantial is being updated because we're not allocating funds to projects. That's where we're gonna have to do another amendment to do that. There's a little bit of expansion on working with developers and property owners, allowing us to get into that, and then expanding the project cost language, which you all saw. City Council's already seen it, we presented to them. So I'm gonna wait for Mr. Morales to give us his feedback when he gets back and see what he thinks. If he thinks it's better to go to council when we actually have the 2017 revision, then we fine. I don't think it changes anything. I think our goal was to try to leverage that report for purposes of council understanding and more funding. I think that's been done, right? So unless the board wants to see it differently, you all okay with that process? Okay. All right, so that's, I think I'm representing the city's part, correct, right? Tina Martinez, in terms of that report.
Yes. Yeah, and I'll discuss with Rudy and see if he has any further questions, but.
Yeah, it's just to make it easy for when someone pulls a 2017 report for the update to be right there. I think when we started this, we kind of were going really fast and fast tracking it, and the deliverable was met, but I think in retrospect, it just, instead of having two reports, because eventually we'll have three or more, let's just do it on the
Just
twenty
keep on,
seventeen.
yes, correct.
And that, to Mr. Morales' credit, I mean, he raised that concern immediately after he saw the report. He said, I'm not following the amendments, so, but anyway, I think it was a successful effort in all respects. All right, we're gonna move on then to action items. Action item 7, discussion and possible action to approve organizational bylaws to be presented to city council for approval. This, this item doesn't have any sort of time frame. It's self-imposed. Mr. Morales has been helping us through some of this organizational structuring work, and I appreciate that. So, I know, Mr. Heather took the time to really read line by line, and he provided some feedback. I only had one red line which didn't stick to the save file that I shared with the board. Most of what Mr. Heather correct is just a lot, just repetitive.
Yes, sir.
And given that you're an attorney, it certainly reads better with the edits you made. I'm gonna point you all to my edit, and again, this is my opinion, section 3.1, page 507, where it says, mayor shall annually nominate and appoint, subject to city council approval, a member to serve as chair, as provided, and then there's a red line by, that's added there, the board, as provided by, in section 311.009. I don't know if you all are seeing that in your, so that's something, Mr. Heather added, where it says may elect, I'm thinking it needs to be shall, because I don't think we want to have a board that doesn't elect the vice chair and then runs into a situation we had before before we elected a vice chair. The chair's trying to find someone to chair the meeting when he's not available. I think it should be prescriptive in the bylaws, so that when you have that vacancy, you fill it so you don't have that void in the future. That was really everything else. I agree. It's good cleanup. I shared if we can share the red line again, if we can take action today and it will go before council. If you want to take the time to read Mr. Heather's red lines, we can share that. You can speak us to. Was there anything substantial that you thought?
There was nothing substantial. I was trying to strip out some of, like you said, the repetitiveness, and to make some of it a little more direct, so that's a little bit more clear when folks are reading this. And I mean, the bylaws are to guide us, and I don't want to get us in a situation where we're, well, what did we mean when we said this if some of us don't happen to be here in 3 or 4 years?
Right. They're actually, it's interesting that it's well prepared, because there are some items on here that I thought, I don't remember this. And then I went and read the ordinance, and there it was. Like, actually, the chair serves a calendar year. He doesn't serve by appointment.
Right.
So that's, and that's not right. And I was like, so I went back and read the ordinance, and sure enough, I found it. It's like, yeah, Mr. Morales, did his homework. So, however, whatever the wishes are of the board, you can act on it tonight. We can bring it back when we have a fuller board. However, we want to do this, any particular way.
I think it's pretty straightforward, and yes, I would prefer to see those line items, the red line items.
Chairman, we will share that. I just noticed that we shared and it didn't pass through the red lines. So that's why you have the one.
I'm giving him my copy so we can have it.
After the meeting, we'll share it so you all can make sure that you all see the red lines that are being suggested.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, this is something that's being done within 60 days. It's pretty quick, so it hadn't been done for years. So I think it'll help. Easier to read than an ordinance, for sure. Okay. So I take it no action. We'll just wait for December. Is that or?
We'll let Mr. Mata review it and take some time with it.
Yeah, it's just grammar, it's really, right?
Yeah. No, it was
The thought-
the first draft was very solid.
Yeah.
Very solid.
Yeah.
Shall.
Yeah, I'm okay. It's pretty straightforward, yeah.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve as subject to the red lines and edits that you had there.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Mata seconds, been moved and seconded, any additional discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any against? None, motion passes, thank you very much. Item 8 is update on mural program and possible action authorized, including city-owned properties as possible location for mural placements. And Ms. Castillo and Ms. Brunetta are here to speak on the item. I'd like to provide come up with some background for everyone, for the board, and also anybody that the members of the public. So when we first initiated this mural program, I think we started in April, and we formulated what we thought was a path that would involve the artists, community, the public, and private property owners. And I saw that there was a recent posting on Facebook that got a lot of traffic, a lot of exposure, which is good. Thank you for putting that out. The idea was to really focus on private property owners, engaging them so they can activate their storefronts and their properties further to improve facades. It's kind of like blending the cultural with activating properties, right? So for months, I think the process was to try to identify properties within a particular zone. Zaragoza Street, turning on San Agustin is our main focus area up to about Lincoln, I believe. It may go to all the way to Hidalgo. I'm not entirely, I don't remember entirely sure if it went all the way there, but generally that's the area. So we've had a lot of difficulty in finding property owners where they can commit that the wall space will be up in its purity with a mural for 5 years, because they were investing city funds. We do have that requirement, which I think, to me, I've expressed it before, I think that's fair. The total funding that's being made available through this program is $50,000. To me, it's a reasonable amount. A lot of these murals are the smaller level murals. So I provide that as background because I know there's been some interest from the public about this program. We don't have a lot of money dedicated to it. However, we haven't had a lot of response from the private sector. So with that, I'll just hand it over to you and to update us on this. Ms. Castillo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Miriam Castillo, Director for Economic Development for the City of Laredo and liaison for this particular program. Just to add a little bit to the update that was just given, yes, at the last board meeting, we also presented and discussed some of the challenges that we had with some of the recommended properties that were considered at the beginning, and some of the challenges in terms of property owners not being willing or able to either commit to the design that was being proposed or the 5-year term that is being required for this program and whatnot. So we came, in trying to be a little bit more creative and as Plan B, if you will, and having different options to move this program forward. We have identified some possible city-owned properties that could, as you know, some of the murals that are already in place in downtown are on city-owned property. So we are presenting to the board 3 properties in particular that are city-owned that could be considered as part of the program upon your approval. As you very well mentioned, this program is intended to engage property owners in downtown and giving them the opportunity to participate in this program, and that will be a priority. We will continue pushing and doing outreach to get more property owners in downtown that have, businesses or properties that are suitable for a mural based on the guidelines that are part of the program. One of the properties, the first property, it's on 1203 Houston Street, and I'm just gonna go through the 3 locations just so that the board can identify them. The other one, it's on 1002 Hidalgo Street as well, and it falls within the area that had been recommended at the beginning of the program. And the third one is on 802 Grand Street. So for your, recommendation and for discussion and or approval are these 3 properties that we have identified and have been I guess, cleared to be considered for this type of program. And I will open it up.
Can you
for
repeat the
any-
first one? Can you go back to the first one?
It's 1203 Houston
Just
Street.
down the street from here.
Next block, right?
Yeah,
Right.
right next to the Hamilton.
Is that sign gonna be removed or?
I don't think I'll be the more indicated individual as to what to, I guess, report on the plans for the sign, but, the wall is available.
Oh, also.
So my feedback, I personally like this idea, but I also know that there's been recent interest from private property owners in kind of engaging a little bit more. And I would like to see if we could extend the time, maybe through the end of the year to get, so to firm up, if that interest is there, obviously I would be more supportive of activating a property that's not activated, right, and getting the property owner to dress up their facades and their property, because now they have this cultural asset, so to speak, on their property. And if at the end of the year we come back and there's really nothing, we're back to the same, I think we can go back to these options, especially if these properties aren't going anywhere. Yeah.
Right, and that's the whole idea behind this exercise, and as it was discussed and presented at the last board meeting as well, our intention is to really push for the call for property owners
Yeah.
that want to be considered for this program, and, we would come back again, and there has been interest.
And we opened up the area too, right? That's something I didn't mention in the background. We extended the area. We went to the entire Terce area.
Yes, so the area has been extended. There has been at least one property owner that has already submitted a registration, a letter of interest to have their properties being considered for the program. The intention is to continue pushing and hopefully come back, with a list of some options, because we do have 3 artists that are, ready to
Waiting.
go. And I will present on one of the items on the agenda. It's a presentation on one particular project, mural project. But yes, that's the whole intent. We didn't set up a deadline for the property owners per se, so it remains open for any downtown property owner that wants to be considered for this program.
All right, that 802 Grant address, do we own the entire building?
Yes.
Can the mural be on the Santa Ursula side as opposed to Grant?
Yes, the official, I guess, address is on Grant Street, but yeah, the mural will be placed on,
It's a pretty good
wherever it
location,
is.
actually. I also want to, just for the record, because I know people may be looking back at our videos. So we had 5. This board awarded 5 5 murals to 5 artists. Out of those 5, only one's really materializing, correct? Because of either artists not interested, or in most cases, property owners unwilling to commit to the 5-year requirement, right?
The
So
5-year
we still end
requirement
up with
and
just
the
one,
design.
right? We're
So
just,
as of right now, there is, the next item on the agenda, will be an update on that particular one that we think it's closer to, materialize.
okay. All right, so I would make a motion that we approve this item, but for the next calendar year, in the event that we still have funds out of those 50,000, that we actually utilize them on city-owned properties if we don't get any responses by the end of the year. So just for the record, we've gone out now since about June, so it would have been 6 months of trying to reach the private sector.
Right.
And- Right, okay.
Second.
Second by Mr. Heather. Any additional discussion? There being none, did you have a comment?
Just,
Go ahead.
I do have one comment just on the timeline. In June, that's when we reached out to the recommended properties at the beginning of this program.
So it's really 7 months by the end of December.
just on that 802 Grant address, that the mural be considered to be on the Santa Ursula and not on Grant.
And these items are gonna come back, one, because they still need an artist to propose a design and come back to the board, so. All right, it's moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any against? None, motion passes. Thank you very much. Next, item 9, discussion and possible action to approve the proposal of a new art design for the mural program. Go ahead.
So this particular item comes from the original designs that this board approved when the program was launched. In front of you, you have the design that was presented by the artist and approved by the board, by the Arts and Culture Commission, and it followed the RFP. However, when the artist and the property owner met, the property owner expressed that he was interested in having, his property being considered for the program, but requested a different, design for it. As part of the guidelines on the program, any change on the designs that were previously approved need to come back to the board for approval. And this is pretty much the location that had already been approved. This is the one mural that is about to start and be materialized, hopefully. And this is the new design that is being proposed by the artist and to be presented to the property owner.
What was the budget for this one, do you remember?
$14,600.
One of the larger ones.
It was the largest one, the second largest one of the ones that were being considered.
I see doors and windows.
Yes, what, I mean,
So that is part of that is part of the design, because
Yeah, it's a
that
callejón.
particular building only will have one door. So part of the design is painting doors and windows.
Okay, but they're not actually.
They're not
doors.
actually there. There's only gonna be one door.
All right.
oh, I see.
It's gonna make it look.
I thought that was another
Which
property.
tells me this is like,
It's being
yeah.
made.
It's like callejón.
Good looking.
Yes, actually, the picture on your right bottom corner, that is the wall. The property owner will be installing a door, just one door. And I believe that based on the conversations that the artist and the property owner had on the vision for the design, this is what the artist is asking to be considered for approval,
He'll
to be
do all
presented.
that for 14,000, huh? Wow.
That's a lot of work.
So the.
A lot of work.
This is a very motivated artist. I got a chance to
Yes.
meet him, and he is anxious to get started.
So is the property owner okay with the design?
The exercise that we're implementing is approval from the board first, so that we can present it to the property owner and move forward with the project.
Motion to approve as presented.
If I may.
I second the
They met
motion.
on Friday, they had sorry, Amanda Pruneda for the record. This doesn't work, yes. They met on Friday, they went to the location and they met there to discuss the design. So that was more or less of a concept that the property owner was interested in, and we did show him, or I was there in the meeting too, they showed him this concept or this art design, and he liked the idea. So they showed him this, but the final draft, as in the color, that was something similar to what was presented to him.
Okay. So,
Mr.
motion to
Matei.
approve as presented with minor adjustments to the design.
And I second that motion.
Mr. Martinez is seconding the motion. Any additional discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any against? None, motion passes. Thank
Very
you very
good.
much.
I really like this.
Let's convert this one.
Sweet.
Yeah, I know. 10, update on It Street monument sign and possible action related to technical design elements. So I wrote this item, hopefully I covered what your interest was, Rick, and you have some components of the sign that need content and discussion.
Yeah, again, Rick Solis with Able City. So I wanted to bring this back to the board just to confirm a few little details on, for the monument sign. So to give you an update, SSC is the signage contractor that was selected to complete this project. We've actually been in contact with them. They sent us these questions as an RFI so that they can then generate their shop drawings. Once we respond, they will send us their shop drawings, and so we can final approval of those. We'll probably, obviously, I know there used to be a design committee, but the board's changed a little bit since then, so I don't know if we want to bring that back, or we can just bring it back to the board.
We're gonna do it tonight.
Okay, well,
Design committee, huh?
So, let me bring this up here. You. So, and I'll go actually start here. So this is sort of the design that we had come up with originally, with the circular LED sign, and then we had this little plaque with the picture of Iturbide with some verbiage underneath it, but we hadn't really said what that was. You know, the LED lights and all of that. The question that we got back was, well, what picture do we want on that plaque or that picture frame? And then what do we want the verbiage to say? I think at one point we were thinking we might put some history of Iturbide on there.
How the street came, got its name.
Yeah, you know, but in thinking about it after the fact, I think as people are driving by, they're not going to be able to read any of that little text because it would be a lot of little text, right? So what we're proposing tonight, and this is sort of the design, is to keep the image, and we have a couple of pictures that we're able to, these are probably the most high-res photos that we were able to find. We prefer the one on the left, but we wanted to, you know, give you a couple of options. But, and then just to put Agustin de Iturbide with sort of the dates of sort of birth and death. Try to keep it as simple as possible. Maybe there'd be a small credit, you know, because we have less letters than what they should have bid with that. So, so those were the two questions that we're asking. The other idea we had was, instead of using the letters, we could put like a plaque or something with, then at that point you can get the verbiage that you want. But for time and money and everything else, we're just like, this is probably the simplest thing to move forward with. So again, we just wanted to get your opinion to see if there's a particular direction you wanted to go
You
with
think
that.
the letters in the concrete?
No, they're actual like little steel letters that they install on the, well, this angular piece right here is actually steel, like a rusted,
Solid steel, right?
solid steel. So these letters would be placed on top of that.
And what was the material on the aluminum letters?
Yeah,
Black?
like basically kind of like this. Let me try to zoom in on that. That's pretty much the look that it would look like.
And Rick, in terms of materials, just to not assume, we got steel, thick steel, right? Like 1/4-inch steel?
Yes, it's
And then we
Cortec.
got a concrete
Yes,
backer,
Yes,
and then we had a steel beam on top.
going up, yes, with the lighting. Now, I in talking with the vendor yesterday, they told us they don't really make LED screens circular like this. So what end up, I don't know if you know how these LED screens work, but they're little squares that they put together. And so what they told us that they would do, and they're going to send us this on the shop drawing, is they're going to put them together to form sort of like a round shape. And then they would use this, we have this little frame that sits around, we have a very thin frame. They told us they probably would have to thicken that frame a little bit to cover the gaps, so that when you saw it, it would look like a perfect circle,
Right.
but there'd be gaps behind the little frame, you know. So again, we'll get the shop drawings back, we'll bring it back again, just so you guys can look at it one last time, and then we'll get them to start fabricating it.
Yeah. So I want to give the board some background, Mr. Mata and Mr. Heather. I think Mr. Martinez was already here, I think, for most of it. But there was multiple signs that were
Oh, yeah.
conceptualized. And this is like 3 or 4 signs in one.
Yeah.
Everything got integrated because it was difficult to decide. We went through this
Yeah.
until we refused to go through it again.
Right.
So they put everything into this. It's got do the letters change on that live on It Street, or is that a
Yes,
permanent?
no, that's gonna be like,
That changes for whatever's going on, right?
hey, it's St. Patrick's Day,
Right,
it's,
okay. So
George Washington.
George
Philip.
this is an expensive, this is a very, it's a huge investment on the part of the city to do this, so.
What's the life on those screens?
you know what, I'm
take-
not sure, I can find out though. And I will say that, we are working with the contractor, if there's anywhere, or we might be able to realize some savings, we certainly would look at that and bring that to the board as well, because I know it's an expensive, investment.
So I want to take back a comment I said that we would do this tonight, but if the board wants to entertain being, coordinating with Able City and working on language, because the timing, we have the time. So if you're interested in taking this a little slower, we can do that. You still don't have shop drawings, so you're not gonna go into production.
No, so the RFI, the way it was written is, what do we want for the picture on the little picture frame deal? And then what's the text that we want underneath? That's,
So for the board, that's the only thing you're asking.
that's really all I'm asking for right now. If you're okay with this, I can get them.
It's I like what you showed.
Yes.
The
Me too.
image and the dates and the name
Keep it
is,
simple.
yes.
I'm okay with it. My only, request would be is, one, what is the life of the LED
screens.
screens, the product, yes. What warranties do we have, and what is the cost to maintain it over the life of the sign?
Okay, I will ask those questions of the contractor and. I guess
Anybody else from the city have comments on this sign? This is your opportunity.
Jetsons.
Now, as far as.
You all
the-
like it? They're being very timid to say
Yes,
yes.
no.
They hate it.
Like I saw it all
Yeah.
over Instagram and everywhere, right? The public vote.
Oh, hold on, Miriam's got a comment.
Oh, no, I am gonna make it. Miriam Castillo, Director for Economic Development, and this is maybe unsolicited comments or 2 cents, if you will. But with all in my opinion, and from a revitalization and economic development efforts that a lot of entities are currently conducting for, downtown, I think it's a great design, and I'm by no means an expert in the subject, but I would also recommend that the efforts of other entities that are being put as far as branding for downtown, and so that there can be cohesive, message and design, and that everything, it's lined up to one,
Uniform.
goal, which is beautifying and revitalizing. And just from a marketing and branding perspective, if that's something that can also be included as you all move forward, or if the other entities take this as well, just so that the impact can be across and not just different elements of different things in different streets with different colors and different, themes, and that'll be just my,
So
unsolicited.
the base that you see there was a thematic, it was a theme. Have you seen other iterations that are straight
Yeah.
up? So that's where that came from. There was a big, strong group that wanted a marquee, which is where this which comes up, like, what are you gonna, tonight, this is happening. Does it really fit there? That's my only other question is, does it fit in that round design? Does that language, like the scroller,
I mean, it's like a billboard at that point. That you can have a picture and you can swap out to a different message, or it can be a static picture if you want. Just
how do you manage that? That's the other question. How do you do that electronically?
yeah, I guess that was one of the questions they brought up, and because they were like, well, we don't know where we're going to mount the controller. The good thing is that with Edward's design, we actually have the electrical on a little H-frame that's off.
Right there.
Like right there, and with some conduits running to it already.
I'm assuming it's run through cell,
Mobile
like
app.
mobile cellular,
Thank you for your
communication.
comments.
So I would assume that there's gonna be a cavity within the concrete where the equipment's gonna reside.
Again, I don't have the shop drawings yet,
Right.
but we'll work through all of those questions with them.
What's the diameter of the,
It's, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's 4 feet. No, yeah, 4 feet diameter.
size?
And the beam, how thick is that beam that,
The beam is roughly, I don't have let me see if I have this. It's probably about 18 inches deep and maybe,
14-inch diameter?
yeah, maybe like,
I would just make sure the scroller works to get whatever language out, to content out.
the other comments that we were talking to them about is, like on the color of the LEDs, we're asking, well, can those change, right? Can we change the colors? Can we do different things? They're like, well, didn't have that anticipated in our price, but we can certainly look at that and we'll,
If it's a LED lighting, it's doable. If it's a neon, you're limited.
no, we're not doing any neon.
So it's
That's
strictly LED.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's very doable.
We would.
Most
um,
LEDs have multiple
then
colors.
the neon would be a maintenance issue. Yeah.
Neon is antiquated already, right?
Yes.
All right, does anybody, I mean, I guess we'll just open it up, if you are interested in working with Able City to finalize shop drawings, please join them,
Yeah.
be part of that. It's open
I
to
can
you.
send out an email.
As long as you don't have a quorum,
Quorum,
you're good.
right. But for
So
now,
just keep the board informed
Yes.
as at every step in case they wanna be involved.
Yeah.
I personally, I like what you showed, just a simple, the image and the name and the date, I like that.
on the images, any particular one that you like, or we'd like the one on the left, but we can pick the one on the right. It just, I think
Is that, did he have green eyes?
that's the way the picture showed up.
Green eyes.
Cause one has green eyes, the other one doesn't have brown eyes.
I know that,
Morning it did.
but it's.
It's the shirt.
He was wearing contact
Yes.
lenses, that's what it is.
Exactly, so, I think, we can go with this, if we wanna change it, we can change it, but I think for the most part, we just wanna get the shop drawing back so we can move on to the next, phase.
Is there a preference on the image? Mr. Martinez, Mr. Heather?
I like the one that you,
The first one, it's less busy.
Which on the
Yes.
left?
Yeah.
Less busy.
Yeah, me too.
You don't
Everybody
need
likes the one on the
mountains
left.
in the back.
Yeah, you don't need mountains in the back. We don't have mountains in the
Is-
back.
Whatever materials, just make sure it lasts, cause of the.
Yeah, we'll work with the vendor on that. The good thing is that. the
Anybody
con-
else? Ms. Cervantes back there, any comments? No? You guys are welcome to send
Yeah.
feedback, this is an important signage, for the city.
And like I said, this contractor is a signage contractor, so they build signs all across the state, so we'll.
What is the current list of signs, the names? That's Iturbide. How many others are there, maybe, or just Iturbide?
That's just this
Just
one
that one.
monument, yeah. Then we have the wayfinding, which is a different contractor.
That's another sign company.
Great, well, thank you.
So, I don't think we need any action. You're gonna bring it back with shop drawings?
Yes,
Fine.
okay,
All right.
that was all we had, thank you.
Thank you very much, Rick, everybody. Item 11 is adjournment, motion to adjourn at 4:32.
Second.
Second by Mr. Heather, any discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any against? None, motion passes. Thank you very much, everyone.